There is a moment in life that almost nobody talks about. It does not always arrive with a dramatic failure. Sometimes, nothing is obviously wrong. You wake up. You go to work. You answer the messages. You fulfill your responsibilities. You smile when people expect you to smile. You continue doing everything you have always done. And yet, somewhere beneath all of it, a quiet question begins to grow. Is this really me? Not the version of you that performs for the world. Not the version that meets expectations. Not the version that has learned how to survive. You. The person you were before fear became your decision maker. The person you were before disappointment taught you to expect less. The person you were before you became so busy trying to be everything for everyone else that you forgot who you were when nobody needed anything from you. And perhaps that is where you are today. You are not completely broken. You are simply disconnected. Disconnected from your voice. Disconnected from your dreams. Disconnected from the values that once gave your life direction. But listen carefully. If you can feel that something is missing, then a part of you is still awake. That feeling is not proof that you have lost yourself forever. It may be proof that the real you is trying to get your attention. Because you can lose your direction without losing your destination. You can forget who you are without becoming someone else forever. And you can spend years living away from yourself and still find your way back. But the journey back does not begin with a perfect plan. It begins with honesty. You have to be willing to stop performing long enough to ask yourself a question. Most people spend their entire lives avoiding. What do I actually want? Not what would impress people. Not what would make your family comfortable. Not what would make you look successful. What do you want? And perhaps the answer will not come immediately. That is okay. For a long time, you may have been listening to everyone else's voice. Your parents, your friends, your culture, your fears, your past, the opinions of people who have never had to live your life. After enough time, the noise becomes so loud that your own voice begins to sound unfamiliar. That is why finding yourself again requires silence. Not necessarily a silent room, a quieter mind. A moment where you stop asking the world who you should become and begin listening to what your own life has been trying to tell you. Because there are clues everywhere. Pay attention to what gives you energy. Pay attention to what constantly drains you. Pay attention to the moments when you feel most alive. Pay attention to the moments when you feel like you are acting. Your life has been giving you information. You may simply have been too busy to read it. And here is something important. You do not have to return to the person you were 10 years ago. That person may have been innocent, but you are wiser now. You may have been more hopeful, but you have learned things that hope alone could not teach you. You may have been more fearless, but now you understand the cost of certain choices. Finding yourself again is not about going backward. It is about collecting the pieces of yourself that life forced you to abandon and rebuilding them into something stronger. You are not trying to become who you were. You are discovering who you can become now. And the first thing you must rediscover is what you stand for. Because without values, a person can achieve everything and still feel lost. Values are not the words you write in a notebook. They are the standards you follow when nobody is watching. They are what you refuse to sacrifice. They are what guides you when two choices appear, and both have a cost. A person who does not know their values can be controlled by almost anything: approval, money, fear, pressure, temporary pleasure, the expectations of other people. But once you know what matters to you, many decisions become easier. You do not have to ask everyone what they think. You can ask yourself a better question. Does this choice move me closer to the person I respect, or further away from that person? That question can change your life, because sometimes the reason you feel lost is not that you do not know what you want. Sometimes you know exactly what you want. You simply keep choosing against it. You say you value health, but continue destroying your body. You say you value freedom, but continue living without discipline. You say you value honesty, but keep lying to yourself about what must change. You say you value growth, but spend every day protecting yourself from discomfort. This is where the real work begins. Not with declaring your values, with living them. Ask yourself, when have I felt genuinely proud of the way I behaved? What was I doing? What principle was I following? When have I felt ashamed or disappointed in myself? What did I compromise? What did I tolerate that violated the person I wanted to be? Look for the patterns. Your values often reveal themselves through your strongest emotions. What makes you angry may reveal what you believe is important. What makes you proud may reveal what you want to become. What repeatedly drains you may reveal where you are living out of alignment. And once you begin seeing those patterns, you cannot unsee them. You begin realizing that some of your exhaustion is not caused by how much you are doing. It is caused by how much of yourself you are betraying while doing it. That is a difficult realization, but it is also a liberating one, because the moment you know what is wrong, you can begin making different choices. And sometimes, finding yourself requires letting go of the things that helped you lose yourself in the first place. This is where many people become afraid, because familiar pain can feel safer than unfamiliar freedom. You may know that a relationship is draining you, but you are afraid of being alone. You may know that a habit is destroying your potential, but you are afraid of who you will be without it. You may know that a certain environment is keeping you small, but you are afraid of what happens when you leave, so you stay. You keep explaining, you keep tolerating, you keep telling yourself that things will change. And slowly, the life you are living becomes a life you never consciously chose. There are people you will have to stop chasing. There are environments you will have to outgrow. There are habits you will have to break. There are beliefs about yourself that you will have to question. Not because everything from your past was bad, but because not everything from your past belongs in your future. Some people were part of your story. That does not mean they are meant to be part of every chapter. Some habits helped you survive a difficult season. That does not mean they are still helping you grow. Some beliefs protected you from disappointment. That does not mean they are still telling you the truth. You have to learn the difference between loyalty and self-abandonment. You can love someone and still create distance. You can appreciate where you came from and still choose a different direction. You can forgive the past without continuing to live inside it. And you can stop carrying things that were never meant to be carried forever. The same applies to your habits. Most people do not suddenly destroy their lives. They do it gradually. 1 hour wasted, one promise broken, one excuse repeated, one opportunity postponed, one uncomfortable truth avoided. The danger is not one bad decision. The danger is allowing the same decision to become your identity. A habit becomes powerful when you stop seeing it as something you do and start seeing it as something you are. I am lazy. I am always anxious. I am just not disciplined. I have always been this way. These statements sound like descriptions, but often they are prisons. You are not required to remain loyal to an old version of yourself simply because you have been that person for a long time. Your past can explain your behavior. It does not have to command your future. You can learn a new pattern. You can develop a new standard. You can become someone your old self would not recognize. But to do that, you have to stop waiting for the perfect feeling. You will not always feel motivated. You will not always feel confident. You will not always feel ready. The strongest changes in your life will often begin on days when you feel completely unprepared. That is why discipline matters. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is self-respect in action. It is the decision to do what your future needs, even when your present mood wants something else. You do not build strength by making one impressive decision. You build it through ordinary decisions repeated until they become part of your character. Wake up when you said you would. Do the work you promised yourself you would do. Read when you would rather consume meaningless content. Exercise when comfort is calling. Tell the truth when a lie would be easier. Finish what you start. Not because every day will be perfect, but because every action is teaching you something about who you are. Every time you keep a promise, you build trust with yourself. Every time you break one, you weaken that trust. And when you lose trust in yourself, even your biggest dreams begin to feel impossible. You start asking, what makes me think I can do this? The answer is not positive thinking. The answer is evidence. You create evidence by showing up, one day, then another, then another. Eventually, your confidence no longer depends on what you hope you can do. It is built on what you have already proven. And that is a completely different kind of confidence. It is quiet. It does not need to announce itself. It simply knows, I have survived difficult things before. I have kept going before. I can trust myself to take the next step. But life will test that confidence. It will bring disappointment, failure, rejection, loss, moments when your plans collapse and you are forced to begin again. And this is where many people misunderstand strength. Strength is not never being hurt. Strength is not pretending that failure does not affect you. Strength is not smiling through every storm. Strength is the ability to experience difficulty without allowing difficulty to decide who you become. You will fall. The question is not whether you will fall. The question is what you will do after you fall. Will you turn the failure into an identity? Or will you turn it into information? Will you say, this proves I cannot? Or will you ask, what did this teach me? That question is powerful because it changes your relationship with pain. Failure becomes a teacher. Rejection becomes redirection. Difficult seasons become training grounds. You begin understanding that some of the moments you wanted to escape were developing the exact qualities you would later need. Patience, resilience, wisdom, courage, self-knowledge. The storm did not always come to destroy you. Sometimes it came to introduce you to a strength you had never been forced to discover. But strength without direction is not enough. You need purpose. Because a person can be extremely disciplined and still be moving in the wrong direction. You can work hard for years toward a goal that does not belong to you. You can climb the ladder and eventually discover it was leaning against the wrong wall. That is why finding yourself requires asking not only, what can I achieve? But also, what is worth achieving? What kind of life would make you feel proud to live it? What kind of person do you want to become when nobody is applauding? What would you continue doing even if recognition disappeared? Purpose is not always a single dramatic mission. Sometimes purpose is found in the way you live every ordinary day. The way you treat people, the way you use your abilities, the responsibilities you accept, the problems you choose to solve, the people you choose to help. Your purpose may evolve. That does not mean you are lost. It means you are growing. The important thing is to stop living by accident. Stop waking up every day and allowing the loudest demand to become your highest priority. Stop allowing every distraction to choose your direction. Stop allowing every opinion to determine your identity. You have to become intentional, because if you do not choose your life, circumstances will choose it for you. And circumstances are rarely concerned with your dreams. This is why your daily habits matter so much. Your future is not built during the occasional moments when you feel inspired. It is built on ordinary days. The days when nobody is watching. The days when you feel tired. The days when the results are invisible. Those days are not interruptions to your transformation. They are the transformation. You want to become healthier? Build the habit. You want to become smarter? Build the habit. You want to become more confident? Build the habit of doing difficult things. You want to become more peaceful? Build the habit of controlling what you allow into your mind. You want to become successful? Build the habits that make success inevitable over time. The small things are not small when they are repeated. A single page read every day becomes hundreds of pages. A small amount saved consistently becomes financial stability. A short workout repeated becomes a stronger body. One honest decision becomes a stronger character. The power is not in the size of the action. The power is in the repetition. And repetition changes identity. At first, you are trying to become disciplined. Then you become someone who practices discipline. Eventually, discipline becomes normal. This is how the strongest version of you is built. Quietly, gradually, without needing permission. But there is another part of becoming strong that many people ignore. You must learn to manage your emotions. You cannot control everything you feel. You can feel anger without becoming anger. You can feel fear without allowing fear to control your behavior. You can feel sadness without believing that sadness is your permanent identity. Emotions are information. They are not always instructions. This distinction can save you years of unnecessary damage. When you are angry, you do not have to respond immediately. When you are afraid, you do not have to run immediately. When you are disappointed, you do not have to destroy everything immediately. Pause. Observe. Ask yourself what is actually happening. The space between feeling and action is where maturity is built. A person who reacts to every emotion becomes controlled by every emotion. A person who can pause gains freedom. That does not mean becoming cold. It means becoming capable of choosing your response. And your response is where your power lies. You may not control what someone says. You may not control whether someone rejects you. You may not control what happened yesterday, but you can control what you do with what happened. That is responsibility, and responsibility is one of the most empowering ideas you can accept. Because the moment you take responsibility, you stop waiting for someone else to give you permission to change. You stop waiting for the perfect opportunity. You stop waiting for someone to rescue you. You begin asking, what can I do with what I have? Where can I improve? What is within my control? That question gives you your power back. You may not be responsible for every difficulty you have faced, but you are responsible for what you do next. And that is enough. You do not need control over everything to change your life. You need control over the next decision, the next hour, the next action. That is where transformation begins. And as you begin taking responsibility, something else happens. Your standards begin to rise. You stop tolerating what you once accepted. Not because you suddenly believe you are better than everyone else, but because you finally understand that your life is shaped by what you repeatedly allow. You cannot ask for peace while constantly inviting chaos. You cannot ask for confidence while constantly breaking promises to yourself. You cannot ask for a better life while protecting the habits that are destroying the one you have. At some point, your standards have to become stronger than your excuses. This does not mean becoming harsh with yourself. It means becoming honest. There is a difference between self-compassion and self-deception. Self-compassion says, I made a mistake and I can learn. Self-deception says, nothing needs to change. Self-compassion allows you to heal. Self-deception keeps you trapped. You can forgive yourself and still demand more from yourself. You can love who you are and still refuse to remain where you are. Growth is not proof that you hate your current self. Growth is proof that you believe your life is worth improving. And perhaps the most important thing you can do is create a vision of the person you are becoming. Not a fantasy, a standard. Who are you becoming? How does that person spend their time? What do they tolerate? What do they refuse? How do they handle pressure? How do they speak to themselves? What do they do when nobody is watching? The future version of you is created by today's answers to those questions. Every decision is a vote for the person you want to become, or a vote for the person you are trying to leave behind. You do not need to win every vote. You will have bad days. You will make mistakes. You will lose your focus. You will sometimes return to old habits. That does not mean the journey is over. The important thing is how quickly you return. Do not turn one bad day into a bad month. Do not turn one mistake into an identity. Do not use failure as an excuse to abandon the person you are becoming. Begin again, as many times as necessary. There is no shame in beginning again. The shame is knowing what you need to do and spending your entire life refusing to do it. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to change your direction. You are allowed to outgrow the identity that once protected you. You are allowed to become unfamiliar to people who only knew the old version of you. Not everyone will understand your growth. Some people preferred the version of you that was easier to control. Some people were comfortable when you had no boundaries. Some people liked you better when you doubted yourself. That is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to live honestly. And living honestly may require disappointing people who benefited from your self-abandonment. That can be painful, but temporary disappointment is often cheaper than a lifetime of regret. You cannot build an authentic life while constantly asking everyone else for permission to live it. At some point, you have to decide, this is my life. These are my values. This is what I believe. This is what I am willing to work for. This is what I will no longer tolerate. And then you have to live accordingly. That is empowerment. Not controlling everyone around you. Controlling yourself. Not forcing the world to give you what you want. Becoming capable of creating what you want. Not waiting for confidence. Building confidence through action. Not demanding that life remove every obstacle. Becoming strong enough to face obstacles without losing your direction. Real empowerment is not loud. It does not need to prove itself. It is the quiet confidence of knowing who you are. Knowing what matters. Knowing what you will do when life becomes difficult. Knowing that you may not have every answer, but you trust yourself to keep searching. And once you reach that place, something beautiful happens. You stop living as a reaction to life. You begin creating your life. You stop asking, what does everyone expect from me? You begin asking, what kind of person do I want to be? You stop measuring your worth by applause. You begin measuring it by alignment. Are your actions aligned with your values? Are your habits aligned with your goals? Are your relationships aligned with your standards? Are you living in a way that allows you to respect yourself? These questions matter more than the opinions of people who are not living your life. And the answers may not always be comfortable, but they will be honest. And honesty is where freedom begins. You may not be able to change your entire life today, but you can change your next decision. You can turn off the noise. You can tell the truth. You can make the call. You can begin the work. You can walk away. You can say no. You can forgive. You can learn. You can start again. One decision may not change your entire life, but one decision can change your direction. And a new direction, followed long enough, can change everything. So if you have been feeling lost, do not assume you are finished. If you have been disconnected from yourself, do not assume the connection is gone forever. If you have spent years becoming someone you do not recognize, do not believe that you are trapped there. You are still here. The part of you that once dreamed is still here. The part of you that wanted more is still here. The part of you that knew you were capable of something greater is still here. Maybe it became quiet. Maybe it became buried beneath disappointment. Maybe it was exhausted from trying to survive. But it is still there, and perhaps this moment is the beginning of your return. Not a return to the past, a return to yourself. A stronger self, a wiser self, a more honest self, a self that no longer needs to be accepted by everyone. Because you have finally learned how to accept responsibility for your own life. So begin. Begin with the truth. Find out what you value. Remove what is destroying your peace. Break the habits that are weakening your future. Build discipline through small actions. Learn from your failures. Control your responses. Choose your direction. Raise your standards. And keep moving, even when the transformation feels invisible. Because one day, you will look back and realize that the person you were searching for was never completely gone. You were becoming. Every loss taught you something. Every mistake revealed something. Every difficult season developed something. Every time you stood back up, you were building the person you were meant to become. You were not lost. You were being shaped. And now, you have a choice. You can continue living according to old fears, old habits, old expectations, and old stories. Or you can decide that the next chapter will be different. Not because the world suddenly becomes easier, but because you become more intentional, more disciplined, more courageous, more aware, more yourself. The greatest journey of your life may not be the journey toward a new place. It may be the journey back to the person you abandoned while trying to become everything else. And when you finally find that person again, you will discover something even more powerful. You were never meant to simply return to who you were. You were meant to become more honest than before, more resilient than before, more disciplined than before, more courageous than before, more alive than before. So stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting for someone else to tell you who you are. The answers are not somewhere far away. They are in the choices you make next, in the standards you set, in the habits you build, in the things you finally release, in the truth you finally accept. You can find yourself again. You can rebuild. You can begin. And perhaps the most beautiful thing about your future is this: it does not require you to become someone else. It requires you to become more fully who you were always capable of being. So take the next step, then another, and another, until one day, you look in the mirror and recognize the person looking back. Not because life became perfect, but because you finally came home to yourself. And when you do, you will understand that you were never truly waiting to be found. You were waiting to choose yourself.